This is very big news. For many years now, we've been hearing about how all of these different counterterrorism programs that are in place, including drones, including NSA surveillance, how they all have prevented many specific terrorist attacks. All the time, Lewis, we hear a plot has been thwarted. The NSA surveillance has thwarted 50 plots in the last year, whatever the case may be. For a while also, I've been kind of thinking out loud about whether the lack of detail about some of these plots is actually necessitated by operational security, or whether maybe the vague nature of the statements about how many plots have been foiled is more a sign that we're told that plots are always foiled by these programs in order to increase support for those programs. It turns out that, as written about in Salon.com, NSA Director Keith Alexander admitted yesterday that the Obama administration had issued misleading information about the foiling of terror plots to bolster support for the government's vast surveillance program. How surprised are you, Lewis? I'm not at all surprised.
No, not at all. Of course not. This is similar to the Iraq War thing. Of course, I guess not quite as bad, but still pretty bad. A lot of Americans are really ticked off about this whole surveillance thing, and to hear this, it's just an even bigger slap in the face.
So there was a hearing yesterday with the Senate Judiciary Committee, and the chairman, Senator Patrick Leahy, was pushing Alexander to admit that some of those foiled plot numbers had been fudged, and he said, there is no evidence that bulk phone record collection helped to thwart dozens or even several terrorist plots. These weren't all plots, and they weren't all foiled, Leahy said, and then he asked Alexander, would you agree with that? Yes or no? To which Alexander replied, yes. Yes. Does this revelation make the Edward Snowden leaks more poignant? I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, he was not releasing information, leaking information about something that is illegal because the laws were changed to make this legal. At the same time, the fact that the Obama administration and officials for many years have been, at least we can say, exaggerating the number of foiled plots as the result of these surveillance programs is absolutely a red flag.
Yeah, and this whole thing makes you wonder, is this really about keeping us safe from terrorism, or is this just about control?
Well, that ultimately, when we look at military action in Syria and exploring whether that would happen, when we look at NSA surveillance, when we look at wars over so many different things, we talked a couple of weeks ago about ultimately, does it really just come down to control over people, whether it's the people in Syria or the people here in the US? And increasingly, that's the direction that it is going, because there is so much of a establishment here put in place to create one perception about surveillance, security, terrorism, and there is a reality that seems to kind of track with that. But in many specific instances like this, it seems to separate from the story that is being told. Let's take a break. I have a number of stories, specifically two. That's my new thing, Lewis. Anytime we use a number of, I actually say specifically the number of stories. I have two stories about shootings, one more ridiculous than the other. I don't even know where we'll start, but that's next. Facebook.com/David Pakman Show.